Welcome back to another Open Mic podcast. My name is Noah Jones. I'm the host of the show, and today I'm joined by Colton Ulery, the lead singer of Sink the Ship. How are you doing today?
Hey man, what's up? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's super exciting to have you here. I was just sort of glancing over your Spotify page before I had you on the show, and you guys are probably the most significant band for Mansfield, I think, according to Spotify statistics at least, with 20,000 monthly subscribers, and your songs have several thousand plays on there. There's a difference, right, between being a local band and having, local popularity, but I think you guys are more or less on a national or at least on a regional stage.
Yeah, I don't know. For us, it was a little different because the band is actually more so, or was anyway, it was actually more so based at Cleveland, and then over the years, I sort of came back to Mansfield, and we stopped playing up in that area so much, so we grew in a bigger market, and I think that everybody from down here saw that, and it made them sort of want to come check us out. And now that we're calling Mansfield home, I think just everybody's on board with it.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I think it's really awesome for the city of Mansfield to sort of get to host you all, and we'll get into this later, but you guys are going to be the first Mansfield band to play Inkcarceration, which to me seems like a huge deal and is very exciting. But talk to me a little bit more specifically about the band. When did you all start working together?
I started Sink the Ship in 2012 with my brother and my friend Brandon, and over the years we've had a handful of I don't know, we've had 3 or 4 guitarists, we've had 3 drummers. Right now we actually don't even have a drummer. We're using this guy for right now, and hopefully that works out and he could be an actual member. But yeah, so it all started back in 2012. Like I said, Northeast Ohio area is where we grew and made our name. And then I've been writing with those guys, it seems like every single day since. So
that's really cool. And at what point did you guys sort of realize that you guys had this growing fan base and that this could be sort of your career?
There's a club up in Lakewood. It's called the Foundry. I think the first time we sold that out was when we're okay, it's not just hey, I have my friends and my family here. There were people that were driving from out of state. I don't know. It just grew, and there's a point when you start seeing faces that aren't faces you see all the time, and you're okay, I don't even know these people. They're at the shows, they're buying the merch. I would say at that point, it was probably 2015. We released an EP called From the Bottom, and that's the first time that we sold out the Foundry because it was an EP release show, and yeah, it was big. It was fun. So
that's awesome. And let's go back a little bit. I skipped ahead way too far. Talk to me a little bit about what got you into music and when you sort of decided that you wanted to test it out.
Oh, I don't know. I'll try to go back as far. I was in band in the 4th grade. I played snare.
Okay.
And then I think it all just sort of grew from there. Eventually I ended up having a full set of drums. And then for some reason, I think in my teens, I took a break from really listening to rock music. I was really into just rap, and I don't know. I think that's why that right now, I'm a vocalist and I like to write lyrics because I think my background is based more in that genre than it is what we're actually playing right now. But I don't know. So it was a super young age for me, probably the 4th grade.
So you said vocalist. Your music sort of consists of singing and screaming. What's the difference between screaming and how do you sort of learn how to do that or practice or get better at it?
I don't know. For me, it's just making sure that I warm up so that my throat muscles all feel good and stuff. When I first was learning how to scream, it was I don't know, it was super weird. Zach, the bass player, pre-2015, he actually did all of the screams. And so, hang on, maybe it was 2013. But anyway, we were in the studio. I don't know if he was sick or what happened, but we're in the studio, and it was okay, we got to lay down these screams. And so I just went for it, and it sounded good. And then, I don't know, I think I've improved since then, since, you know, that was like 5 or 6 years ago. But I don't know. I think after so long, your throat and your voice sort of builds like a callus almost, and it sort of just becomes like breathing almost. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Sure. One of the things that I acknowledged from you is that you scream and sing in seemingly sort of one breath, or at least you hide the breath well enough to make me feel like you have to sort of make a quick switch.
Yeah.
Does that take some type of practice to, because I'm assuming you're using a little bit of different muscle.
Oh yeah, no, I am. I don't know. It's not for everybody. There are a lot of bands that use like 2 vocalists. I don't know. I'm like so into what I write that when I'm singing it, I feel it. And in the studio, it's much different, but live, I can sort of like pull it out of me. And it's definitely 2 different like techniques. So yeah, it's a lot easier for me to scream than it is for me to sing though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's
Let's talk a little bit about the single that you've recently put out called Demons. It came out in October of 2019, correct?
Yeah.
Just talk to me a little bit about that song that you were trying to convey in its message, or how it was written.
I don't know. I can sort of break it all down.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Brandon hit me with the instrumental. Then me and him sat down and like chiseled out exactly how we wanted the song to sound. I went through the notes on my phone. I was like, hey, these lyrics, you know, feel like it would like fit here. And I tracked it. And I don't know. There was a couple different versions of it. I don't know. The message, I guess, I mean, it's like super obvious if you watch the video. It's about like battling with like anxiety, you know what I mean? All that stuff.
Is
I
that
don't know.
something you struggle with?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I don't know, like I feel like there's a lot of artists who like have that topic in their lyric content these days. And I always like question like, you know, does this person feel that way, or are they trying to like prey on everybody else's emotions to make money? You know what I mean? But I don't know.
But it's anxiety, mental health, all that sort of stuff is definitely sort of a growing topic in culture right now, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, the number of celebrity suicides or things like that happen as a result of people ending up being depressed. Off the top of my head, Robin Williams and Kate Spade are the ones I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
but there's certainly way more. It's only a good thing to get to sort of share your message with anxiety and mental health and stuff like that, and talk about how it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think how far we've come from 100 years ago, when if you're a man, you know, you just have to shut up, be tough, blah blah blah.
For
you
sure.
know, but now, you know, you can be a man still, but you can be like, yo, I got problems and I need somebody to talk to about them because they can't stay trapped in my head all day. So
Yeah, and it's this whole like sort of fragile masculinity thing, or maybe not even fragile masculinity, but just this whole idea that you have to be the one to sort of be tough all the time. And
Yeah.
I think that's pretty damaging to men in general.
Oh yeah, it is, because even though we are men, we still need that outlet. We can't keep everything bottled in. It's just not healthy. That's how you get suicides. That's how you get shootings. That's how you get stuff like that, because people aren't letting those ideas and those thoughts sort of flow and, you know, like exfoliate and be like projected onto something else versus just staying in them. So
Absolutely. Let's listen to Demons right now then.
yeah, sure.
This feeling of repenting doom.
Okay, we're back with Colton Ulery of Sink the Ship, the lead vocalist and frontman of the band. Colton, I've actually had the chance to play at your venue, Electric Company, twice. Talk to me a little bit about how you got a hold of that, because it's a really great space to play.
Hey, yeah, thanks. See, it was like 2017. I saw the opportunity to buy in to the business. It was me and my friend Ryan, and I don't know. I think that I was just leaning more and more like towards being like 30 years old. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, hey, you can't do, the band forever. You got to have some plan. So I invested a little money in that, became part owner, and then I ended up actually buying Ryan out this last August. But yeah, it's fun. I like knowing that I'm bringing like some like A-list bands into a much like smaller market.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen multiple flyers. No bands are coming to my head, but I've seen some bands and been like, holy cow, I can't believe they're playing here. How is it that you're able to get a hold of them? Or get them to come, really, is what I mean.
Like, aside from being in a band, I've been booking shows and promoting shows since I've been like 16 or 17. So over the course of the last like 12, 13 years, I sort of built up like a big book of everybody. And I don't know, like, once you break through that first gate of being a part of the music industry, like, everybody sort of knows everybody. Just as long as you're, like, not a jerk, you're nice to everybody. I don't know, like, chances are you can get somebody to do something for you just as long as you're willing to, like, reciprocate. So, yeah, I mean, it's actually just a super small world. I wasn't an absolute jerk to everybody, so every now and then, yeah.
Well, that's a good lesson for the wise.
Yeah.
Cool. So considering that you host the venue, talk to us a little bit about your excitement to play at Inkcarceration in July. That's going to be really exciting for a lot of reasons. But let's just start with the overall excitement of the band. Is that the biggest venue you guys have played at? I'm
trying to think. Like, capacity-wise, or like what I think is just like the best thing we've ever done?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I think last year they averaged 16,000 people, which sounds like a ton of people to play in front of. So I guess mostly I'm asking you people and playing in front of people wise, but also I guess in terms of just the other thing that you had said there with how cool it would be.
Now, I mean, it's definitely the biggest show that we've ever played. Well, we'll play. I think the coolest thing we've ever done, like, so far. We did a tour in Japan this last year, and it was really cool. But I don't know. I think that Ink might top that, because I don't know how it feels to, like, look out and see hundreds of people. You know what I mean? Or thousands of people, rather. So
right. And I know that you don't know what day, well, at least I don't know what day you're playing on because the agenda hasn't been published yet.
I do, but I can't say.
Right. No, yeah. But how cool is it to get to see your name, your band's name on the same band as like Blink-182, Papa Roach, Hollywood Undead, Weezer? You look at that, like that would be sort of like a dream, right?
No, yeah. No. When I found out we were playing, I immediately sent a message to the band chat, and everybody's like trying to call me and stuff, like, oh my god, dude, so awesome. No, it's I don't know, it is super cool, because moving forward, if I'm trying to get us on any other big shows like that, that's sort of like a really, really good mark. Like, like, hey, well, we've played this, or we've done this tour. Well, that'll be one of those things where they're like, oh shit, this band played with these bands, they were on this bill. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe this is sort of the fan of music in me, but when you go to those things, is it sort of like, okay, here's the band that I want to meet? Like, do you want to go and meet Rivers Cuomo and just be like, hey, I'm in a band too? Or like, what's that conversation like, or what's your anticipation for getting to meet other bands?
I don't know. I'm not really. I don't know. Like, I like to network, but that's like all it is for me. Like, if I were to approach anybody else there, it would be on a professional basis for the venue more than it would be like, oh my god, like, can you please help my band out? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not like that. But
gotcha.
I don't know. I try to keep it as like professional as I can. I think that a couple of the guys in my band would be like, yo, there's so and so from this band, I want to go meet him, yada yada yada. But I don't know. Me, I don't know. It just yeah, that's not me.
Gotcha. Talk to me about what it means for the band to sort of get to be on this level in terms of what it could mean for your band's future.
No, it's like I said, like, so everything that your band's done, the larger like highlights sort of act as a resume. So the more big things like this you do, the more of a chance you have to do even more things, because there are like two things that everybody wants to see, and that's money, and that is numbers. And if your band has money and you're willing to invest in yourself, and you guys have numbers like high streams on Spotify, high views on YouTube, you guys are getting like heads out when you're going out on like your like small, like runs or tours or whatever. That's what everybody wants to see. So to have a big show like this could mean playing something even bigger next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's absolutely a really cool resume builder. What does it mean to be, maybe this isn't how you think, but when I saw your name as part of the lineup, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the first Mansfield band to get to do this.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of pride in that for
Yeah,
you?
yeah. So the first year that they did it, which now after I've like gotten to like meet everybody, it's like, okay, like they were just trying to like build this brand. But first year, I was honestly like pissed off because this festival used to be Ink and the Clink, and they were super, super, super local with it. Like there was a lot of bands from here, that played or whatever. And so I was just like so shocked, and I was like, okay, like why isn't there any bands from here? And then year 2 came around, I was like, there's just still no bands from here. And then this year I was just like, holy shit, like there is a band from here, and it's us, and that's cool, you know what I mean? Like we were, like the first ones to do it, which is, I don't know.
So do they ask you, or do you sort of apply? What's that like for the bands?
I don't know how it is for everybody else, but I had hit the guy that does the booking up last year. It was in the spring. I'm just like, hey, dude, is there anything like open for this? Like we will literally, like play first. And he's just like, nah, there's nothing open, but I'll get you guys on next year. Checked out your band, sounds good. Everything looks good. And so me, like, I'm just thinking, okay, dude's just bullshitting, you know what I mean? Just because, it's like, okay, who's really going to, like, hit you up next year? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay. No. The dude did hit me up next year. He's like, hey, man, do you guys want to play still? And I'm like, why wouldn't we want to play still? So, yeah, no, it was just me asking, him liking the band, him seeing that the band had, like, all right numbers and stuff like that. And then, yeah, like, he just wasn't a liar, he's like, hey dude, I'll hit you up next year. And then he did hit me up next year, and
well, that's
that
awesome.
was it. Yeah.
Well, Colton of Sink the Ship, thank you so much for joining the Open Mic podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we close out here?
Yeah, man, just want to say I appreciate you having me on the show, first of all, and anybody that's checking out the podcast, make sure you keep your eyes open for when they announce the bands and what days they're playing. And if you liked what you heard on here earlier, come and check us out this year at Inkcarceration.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, man, thank you.